She was filthy, starving, and small enough to disappear in the shadows. But when she whispered one word to the monster everyone ran from, he dropped to his knees, and the entire vampire kingdom held its breath. They called him the Hound. Not because he was loyal. Because when Nikolai Valdris, the vampire king, pointed at something, Kael destroyed it. No questions. No hesitation. No mercy. He stood 7 feet of scarred muscle and ancient fury, his eyes the color of dried blood, his silence more terrifying than any roar. Other vampires crossed streets to avoid him. Humans who accidentally met his gaze did not sleep for weeks. Kael had not spoken a full sentence in 6 years. Words were for creatures who still felt. He had burned that part of himself long ago, along with the memory of a woman with golden hair and a child who once called him something he could no longer bear to hear. He existed now as weapon. As warning. As the thing Nikolai unleashed when diplomacy failed. Tonight, Kael walked the eastern border of the territory, rain slicking his black coat to his massive frame. He was hunting. Someone had stolen from the king's blood supply. A small theft, but Nikolai never forgave small things. 3 blocks away, pressed into a doorway that offered no shelter from the storm, a little girl shivered. Her name was Lily. She was 7 years old, and she had been alone for 9 days. Lily did not mean to be seen. She had learned to survive by being invisible. 9 days of hiding in alleys, eating scraps, running from men with cruel hands and crueler intentions. She had learned that in the city, monsters wore human faces. But tonight, the cold was too deep. Her small body could not stop shaking. When she saw the massive figure emerge from the rain, she knew she should run. She could not. Her legs would not move. Her vision blurred. The world tilted. Kael stopped. He smelled blood first. Then fear. Then something else beneath it, something faint, familiar, and impossible. The child collapsed against the brick wall, sliding down until she sat in a puddle. She looked up at him with enormous green eyes. Eyes he had seen before. Eyes that haunted every nightmare he refused to acknowledge. She was dying. Hypothermia. Starvation. He could hear her heartbeat fading. Kael stepped closer, and any other creature would have fled. But the girl simply stared at him. Then her cracked lips moved. One word. Barely a whisper. Papa. Kael's entire body turned to stone. The rain continued falling. The world continued spinning. But Kael Varen, the monster who had not felt anything in 6 years, felt his dead heart shatter into 1,000 pieces. It was impossible. His daughter was dead. He had watched the fire consume the house 7 years ago. He had heard her screams fade into silence. He had clawed through the ashes until his hands were bone. She was dead. This was a trick. A trap. Some enemy using his deepest wound against him. Kael stumbled backward, his massive frame trembling in a way it had not trembled since that night. His fangs extended involuntarily. His claws scraped against his palms, drawing his own blood. No, he growled, the first word he had spoken in months. You are not her. But the girl did not flinch at his monstrous display. She simply reached one tiny hand toward him, fingers blue with cold. Papa, I found you. Her voice was weaker now. Her heartbeat slower. Kael's mind screamed at him to walk away. This was manipulation. This was pain wearing a child's face. If he let himself believe, and it was a lie, the destruction would be absolute. But his body would not obey his mind. Because those eyes. That face. The small birthmark behind her left ear shaped like a crescent moon. Elena had that same mark. His Elena. His daughter. Kael fell to his knees in the rain, and the monster the entire kingdom feared began to weep. Kael did not remember carrying her. He did not remember moving at all. But suddenly he stood inside his quarters, the girl wrapped in his coat, her tiny body cradled against his chest like something sacred. He had not allowed anyone into this space in years. The room was cold, bare, devoid of comfort. A place for a weapon to rest, nothing more. But now he moved with purpose he had forgotten he possessed. He laid her on his bed, started a fire, found blankets that smelled of disuse and dust. His hands, built to destroy, trembled as they worked to warm her. She was unconscious now, her breathing shallow. If she were human, she would need a hospital. But Kael could not take her there. Not yet. Because if this truly was Elena, if somehow his daughter had survived and lived 7 years on the streets while he served a king and became a monster, then someone had hidden her from him. Someone had let him believe she was dead. And that someone would pay in blood that spanned generations. But first, she had to survive the night. Kael bit into his own wrist, letting his ancient blood pool. Vampire blood could heal humans, but it was dangerous for children. Too much and she would begin the turn. Too little and it would do nothing. He had only one chance. He pressed his wrist to her lips. Drink, little one. Please. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her survival instincts took over. She swallowed. Once. Twice. Color returned to her cheeks. Her heartbeat strengthened. Kael pulled his wrist away and sealed the wound with his tongue. Then he sat on the floor beside the bed, his massive frame folded into a position of waiting, and he did something he had not done in 7 years. He prayed to gods he no longer believed in. 3 hours before dawn, she opened her eyes. Papa? Kael was at her side instantly. I am here. You are real. Tears spilled down her small face. I thought I dreamed you. I have been looking so long. His throat closed. When he could speak, his voice was gravel and broken glass. How are you alive? Mama hid me in the cellar before the fire. She said bad men were coming. She said you would find me. Lily's small hand gripped his enormous finger. But when I came out, everything was gone. You were gone. They said the monster took you. So I have been searching for the monster everyone fears because I knew it was you. Kael's world tilted. Elena's mother. His wife. She had hidden their daughter before dying in the flames. Someone had set that fire. Someone had made sure he believed his entire family was ash. And that someone had made the most catastrophic mistake of their very long life. Kael fed her. Soup he had to retrieve from the kitchens, earning shocked stares from servants who had never seen him request anything beyond weapons and solitude. As Lily ate, she talked. Children who had been silent too long often did. Mama said you used to sing to me. Before you had to go work for the king. Kael's jaw tightened. I did not choose to work for Nikolai. I know. Lily looked at him with eyes far too old for 7 years. Mama told me before she died. She said the king owns you because of the blood debt. She said your brother betrayed our family. The room went cold. Kael had not heard his brother's name spoken in a decade. Dmitri. His younger brother. Reckless, ambitious, stupid. Dmitri had stolen from Nikolai's vault 2 centuries ago, and when the king discovered the theft, he had given their family a choice. Dmitri's life, or Kael's eternal service. Their mother had begged Kael to let Dmitri die. Dmitri was poison, she said. He would destroy them all. But Kael had loved his brother. So he made the deal. 100 years of service to Nikolai in exchange for Dmitri's life. 73 years ago, Kael had met a human woman with golden hair and a laugh like sunlight. He had broken every rule and loved her. Married her. Had a child with her. For 12 perfect years, he had balanced 2 lives. Monster by night. Father by day. Then the fire came. Your mother told you about Dmitri? Kael's voice was dangerous now. Lily nodded. She said he came to our house the day before the fire. She said he was angry you would not help him with something. She said he told her that you loved us more than your own blood, and that was a betrayal. Kael stood so suddenly the chair shattered beneath his weight. Dmitri. His brother had murdered his family out of jealousy and spite. And somewhere in the city, Dmitri still breathed. Kael forced himself to sit back down. Revenge could wait. It had waited 7 years. It could wait one more night. His daughter was alive. She was here. That was all that mattered in this moment. You need rest, he said, his voice softer now. Will you stay? Lily's hand reached for him again. I have been alone so long, Papa. Please do not leave. Something in Kael's chest, something he thought had turned to stone, cracked open. I will not leave. I swear it on blood and bone and every dark thing I have done. You will never be alone again. She smiled then. Small, fragile, but real. Will you sing to me? Like before? Kael had not sung in 7 years. His voice was made for growls and threats now, not lullabies. But for her, he would try. He sat on the edge of the bed, and in a voice rough with disuse, he sang the old song. The one from his own childhood, passed down through generations of his bloodline. A song about warriors who came home. About battles ending. About peace. Lily's eyes grew heavy. But before sleep took her, she whispered, You are not a monster, Papa. You are just hurt. Kael had no answer for that. So he simply stayed, watching her breathe, guarding her like the weapon he had become. When dawn broke, Lily woke to find Kael still there, sitting perfectly still in a chair he had pulled beside the bed. You really stayed. I gave you my word. I am many terrible things, but I do not break promises to my blood. She sat up, stronger now, the vampire blood having worked its healing through the night. What happens now? Now? Kael's smile was not kind. It was the smile of something ancient and patient and utterly merciless. Now, Papa handles some family business. The man who hurt us? Yes. Will you kill him? Kael studied his daughter. She did not flinch from the question. 7 years on the streets had taught her that survival sometimes required violence. Would that frighten you? Lily considered this with the seriousness of someone much older. Mama used to say you were the kindest man she ever met. She said you cried the first time you held me. She said you were gentle. She paused. But she also said when someone threatens your family, you become something else. Something that does not stop until the threat is gone. Your mother knew me well. Then I am not frightened. Because we are your family. And he tried to take us away from you. Lily's small face hardened. I think he should be very frightened instead. Kael laughed then. Actually laughed. The sound shocked him. You have her fire. Your mother's. And your stubbornness. Mama said that too. For the first time in 7 years, Kael felt something other than emptiness. He felt purpose. He felt rage. And beneath it all, he felt love. Kael should have known better. In Nikolai's kingdom, nothing stayed hidden. Especially not hope. The door to his quarters exploded inward 3 hours later. Kael moved instantly, placing himself between Lily and the entrance, his body a wall of muscle and fury. But it was not an attack. It was worse. Nikolai Valdris entered, flanked by 6 of his personal guard. The Vampire King was beautiful in the way apex predators were beautiful. Dark hair, sharp features, eyes like winter storms. He wore a perfectly tailored suit and a smile that had preceded 1,000 deaths. Kael. My old friend. My loyal hound. Nikolai's voice was silk over steel. Imagine my surprise when my servants report you requesting children's soup and blankets. His gaze moved past Kael to where Lily stood on the bed, small and defiant. And here I thought your family was ash in memory. She is none of your concern, Kael growled. Oh, but she is. Nikolai stepped closer, and Kael's claws extended. The guards tensed, but Nikolai waved them off. Everything in my territory is my concern. Every vampire. Every human. Every little girl who should not exist. Touch her and I will tear your throat out, king or not. Nikolai laughed. Actually laughed. There he is. There is the Kael I remember. Before you became my obedient weapon, you were fire and pride and foolish love. He circled them slowly. Tell me, do you remember our agreement? 100 years of service. Absolute loyalty. No divided attention. No conflicting priorities. Kael's blood turned to ice. You have 27 years remaining on your contract, Kael. 27 years where you belong to me completely. Nikolai's smile vanished. I cannot have my most feared enforcer distracted by a child. I cannot have you choosing her over my commands. I will serve you. Nothing changes. Everything changes. Nikolai's voice cracked like thunder. Do you think I am a fool? I see how you look at her. That is love. That is weakness. That is the thing that will make you hesitate when I need you to be merciless. Lily's small voice cut through the tension. He can be both. Every head turned to her. She stood on the bed, tiny but unafraid, staring down the most powerful vampire in 5 territories. My papa can love me and still serve you. People are not just one thing. Nikolai studied her with something like fascination. Brave little creature. I see why he loves you. Then his expression hardened. But bravery does not change the terms of blood contracts. He turned back to Kael. You have a choice, old friend. Honor our agreement and send the girl away. I will ensure she is placed somewhere safe, somewhere human, where she will forget you and live a normal life. No. Lily screamed. Nikolai continued as if she had not spoken. Or break your contract. Face the consequences of oath breaking. You know the price. Your life. Your brother's life. And every member of your bloodline hunted to extinction. He paused. Including her. Kael could not breathe. 73 years ago, he had traded his freedom for his brother's life. And now that same brother had murdered his family. The irony was acid in his throat. There is a third option, Nikolai said softly. Turn her. Make her vampire. Then she becomes part of my kingdom officially, and I can allow you to keep her. She will be immortal, powerful, safe. She is 7 years old, Kael snarled. I was 6 when I was turned. I adjusted. You are a monster. Yes. And so are you. So stop pretending otherwise. Nikolai moved to the door. You have until tomorrow night to decide. Send her away, turn her, or watch everything you love burn again. Choose wisely, Kael. I would hate to lose my best weapon over something as fleeting as human love. The king left. The door closed. And Kael turned to see his daughter, his miracle, his reason for living, staring at him with tears streaming down her face. You are going to send me away, are not you? Lily. I finally found you, and you are going to make me leave. I am trying to protect you. I do not want protection. I want my papa. She was sobbing now, 7 years of trauma and abandonment and fear pouring out. Everyone leaves me. Everyone. Mama died. You disappeared. And now that I found you, you are going to leave me too. Kael reached for her, but she jerked away. Do not touch me. Do not pretend you care if you are just going to abandon me like everyone else. I care more than you can possibly understand. Then prove it. Fight for me. Choose me. Her small voice broke. Please, Papa. Please choose me. Kael had torn apart armies. He had survived wars and torture and centuries of darkness. But nothing had ever destroyed him like those 3 words. Please choose me. Because he did not know if he could. Kael did not sleep that night. He sat in the darkness, listening to Lily's quiet breathing from where she had finally cried herself to sleep on his bed. She had not let him touch her again. Had not spoken to him. The silence was worse than any torture he had endured. He had options. All of them were poison. Send her away, she would be safe, human, alive. But she would grow up believing he had abandoned her. She would live with that wound forever. And Kael would return to being the empty weapon he had been, except now he would know exactly what he had sacrificed. He would serve 27 more years knowing his daughter was out there somewhere, hating him. Turn her, she would stay with him. She would be immortal, powerful, protected. But she would never grow up. Never have children. Never know sunlight without pain. He would steal her humanity to keep her close. What kind of father did that? What kind of love was that? Break the contract, Nikolai would hunt them both. Would kill Dmitri, which Kael no longer cared about, but would also exterminate every distant cousin, every bloodline connection. Kael's vengeance against his brother would mean the deaths of innocents. And eventually, Nikolai would find them. Would kill Lily in front of him before ending Kael himself. 3 choices. 3 different ways to lose her. Unless. Kael stood and walked to the window. Outside, the city sprawled in darkness. Nikolai's kingdom. Built on blood contracts and fear and absolute control. The king had ruled for 8 centuries because no one had ever been stupid enough to challenge him directly. But Kael was not just anyone. He was the Hound. The enforcer. The monster who knew every secret, every weakness, every hidden sin in Nikolai's organization. For 73 years, Kael had been the perfect weapon. He had killed Nikolai's enemies. Destroyed the king's rivals. Crushed rebellions before they started. He knew where the bodies were buried because he had buried most of them. And more importantly, he knew what Nikolai feared most. The king had a sister. Anastasia. She had been imprisoned for 600 years in a location only 3 people knew. Nikolai kept her locked away because she was the one creature more powerful than him. The one threat to his throne. Kael was one of the 3 who knew where she was hidden. It was leverage. Terrible, dangerous, potentially suicidal leverage. But it was something. Kael turned from the window and looked at his daughter, small and broken and trusting him despite everything. Please choose me. He had spent 7 years as a monster. Perhaps it was time to be a father instead. Even if it meant burning the entire kingdom down. When dawn came, Kael woke Lily gently. She looked at him with eyes swollen from crying, and the distress there nearly broke him. I am not sending you away, he said quietly. Hope flickered across her face, cautious and fragile. You are not? No. And I am not turning you either. Then what? I am going to renegotiate my contract with the king. Can you do that? Kael's smile was sharp and cold and absolutely terrifying. No. But I am going to do it anyway. Will he hurt you? He will try. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached for his hand. Her small fingers wrapped around one of his, and the trust in that gesture made Kael's dead heart ache. Mama said you were the scariest thing she ever met when you were protecting family. She said once you decide someone is yours, heaven and hell could not make you let go. Your mother was a very wise woman. So make me yours, Papa. Officially. In front of the king and everyone. Claim me so loud that no one can ever take me away. Kael pulled her into his arms then, holding her the way he had when she was an infant, when the world had been simpler and full of light. You were always mine, little one. From the moment you took your first breath. And I will tear this kingdom apart before I let anyone separate us again. Even if it costs you everything? Especially then. Because Kael had been empty for 7 years. He had been a weapon without purpose, a monster without meaning. But now he had his daughter back. And nothing, not kings, not contracts, not the threat of extinction, would take her from him again. He had made his choice. Now he just had to survive it. Kael walked into Nikolai's throne room at midnight with Lily's hand in his. The court fell silent. Every vampire in the hall tensed. They knew this energy. This was the Hound before he killed. Calm, focused, absolutely lethal. But he had never walked into the king's presence like this. Like an equal. Like a threat. Nikolai sat on his throne of black marble, looking amused. Kael. I assume you have made your decision? I have. And? Kael stepped forward, and 20 guards moved to intercept. He stopped, raised one hand, and they froze. Because even they knew, if Kael wanted to kill something in this room, they could not stop him. I want to renegotiate our contract. The court gasped. No one renegotiated with Nikolai. The king's smile widened. Interesting. On what grounds? The original contract was made to save my brother's life. My brother, who I have recently discovered murdered my wife and tried to murder my daughter. The very brother I sacrificed my freedom to protect. Kael's voice was steel. The foundation of our agreement is void. Dmitri deserves no protection. Therefore, I owe you nothing for his worthless life. Nikolai leaned forward. That is not how blood contracts work, and you know it. The oath was made. The terms were clear. Then let me propose new terms. I am listening. Kael's eyes glowed red in the darkness. I will give you 30 more years of service. 30 years beyond my original contract. 57 years total of absolute loyalty. The room went deathly quiet. In exchange, Kael continued, you will allow me to keep my daughter. Human. Unchained. Free. You will never threaten her, never use her as leverage, never touch her. She will be under my protection and yours by extension. And when my service ends, we both walk away. Free. Nikolai studied him. And why would I accept this when I already have you for 27 more years? Because I am offering you 30 more instead. Because a willing weapon is more effective than a resentful one. Because for 57 years, you will have the most dangerous creature in your kingdom completely dedicated to your survival. Kael paused. And because if you refuse, I will tell your enemies exactly where Anastasia is imprisoned. The temperature in the room dropped to freezing. Nikolai stood slowly. You would not dare. I have nothing left to lose except her. Kael pulled Lily closer. Try me. For a long, terrible moment, the two ancient vampires stared at each other. Two apex predators. Two creatures who had survived centuries through violence and cunning. Then Nikolai began to laugh. It started soft and grew until it filled the entire hall. You magnificent bastard. You come into my house, threaten me with my own sister, and demand I give you better terms. He shook his head. I knew there was a reason I liked you. Is that a yes? Nikolai descended the throne steps slowly. He stopped in front of Kael and extended his hand. 30 years. Your daughter stays human and untouched. When the contract ends, you are both free. His grip tightened. But if you betray me, Kael, if you even think about breaking this oath, I will make what happened to your wife look like mercy. Do we understand each other? Perfectly. They shook. Power flared between them, sealing the new contract in blood and magic. When they released, Nikolai looked down at Lily. You are a very lucky girl. Your father just traded decades of his life for yours. Lily looked up at Kael with eyes full of love. I know. But he is lucky too. Because I am going to spend every single one of those years reminding him he is more than a weapon. Nikolai actually smiled. She is going to be trouble when she grows up. She already is, Kael said, but there was warmth in his voice now. Pride. One more thing, Nikolai said as they turned to leave. Your brother. Dmitri. Where is he? I do not know yet. But I will find him. When you do, make it slow. Make it hurt. And make sure every vampire in 5 territories hears about it. The king's eyes glinted. Let them know what happens to those who harm your family. It will serve as an excellent reminder of why they should fear my hound. Kael's smile was all fangs and promise. It will be my pleasure. They found Dmitri 3 weeks later, hiding in a human city 400 miles away. Kael went alone. He returned 2 days later and did not speak of what happened. But the vampires who had been close enough to hear Dmitri's screams said they lasted for hours. Said Kael had taken him apart piece by piece, healing him and starting over, making sure his brother understood exactly what he had taken from this world. Said that at the end, Dmitri had begged for death in 12 different languages. Kael had made him beg in a 13th before granting it. No one ever asked Kael about his family again. 5 years passed. Lily grew. Not into a vampire, but into a bright, fierce, impossible girl who charmed half the kingdom and terrified the other half simply by being Kael's daughter. She attended human school during the day. Trained with Kael at night. Learned to defend herself, to negotiate, to read people the way her father did. She never forgot what it meant to be powerless and alone. So she used her position, her father's reputation, to protect others who had no protection. Homeless children found shelter. Abused humans found justice. The weak found a champion. And Kael, the monster everyone feared, discovered that being a father was harder than any battle he had ever fought. But also more rewarding. Lily had nightmares sometimes. Nights when she woke screaming, remembering the cold streets and empty alleys. Kael would hold her and sing the old songs until she calmed. Would promise her again and again that she was safe. That he would never leave. And slowly, the nightmares faded. On the 7th anniversary of the night she had found him, Lily asked the question she had been avoiding. They sat in the garden behind Kael's quarters, watching the stars. She was 14 now, tall and strong, with her mother's golden hair and Kael's unbreakable will. "Papa, do you regret it? Trading 30 more years for me?" Kael looked at his daughter, this miracle who had brought him back from the abyss, and he smiled. "I would have traded 1,000 years. 10,000. Every year of eternity." He pulled her close. "You gave me back something I thought I had lost forever." "What?" "A reason to be more than a weapon. You reminded me that I am a father first. A protector. A man who loves." He kissed her forehead. "Some people live 1,000 years and never matter to anyone. I get to matter to you. That is not a sacrifice, little one. That is a gift." Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she whispered, "I love you, Papa. And I love you. From this life into whatever comes next. You are mine, and I am yours, and nothing in this world or the next will ever change that." They sat together in comfortable silence as the night deepened around them. Kael had been a monster. A weapon. A creature of nightmare. But that little homeless girl had whispered one word, and everything had changed. "Papa." And the most feared vampire in 5 territories had remembered what it meant to be human. Not in body, but in the only way that truly mattered. In heart. "Before you go, I need you to do something for me. This story took everything I had to create. Hours of writing, editing, pouring my soul into Kael and Lily's journey. If you felt anything watching this, if their story touched you even a little bit, do not leave without subscribing. You have been here for 40 minutes. You have watched a father fight heaven and hell for his daughter. You have seen a monster remember how to love. And if that meant something to you, then please, hit that subscribe button. Join this family. Because we have so many more stories coming, and I promise you, you do not want to miss what happens next. Tell me in the comments, would you trade decades of your life for someone you love? Have you ever had to choose between duty and family? I want to know your stories. And to everyone who subscribes, who joins this community, who comes back week after week for these vampire love stories, thank you. You are the reason I keep creating. You are the reason these characters get to live. Now go. Rewatch this if you need to. Share it with someone who loves epic romance and redemption. And remember, in this family, we protect each other. Always and forever. Just like Kael and Lily.